because I just have a spew of thoughts that are coming to me about the virtual tabletop space. And now listen, you might say, Josh, where did this spew of thoughts come from?
Josh, where did this spew of thoughts come from?
Well, I'll tell you. D&D Beyond just released a virtual tabletop.
It's funny every time you say it.
That's where the spew of thoughts came from. Now, if you're listening, you may or may not, there's a bit of a saga here. There's a little bit of a story to this. So you may or may not understand why D&D Beyond releasing a virtual tabletop is really fucking weird and confuses me. So I'm gonna regale you with the saga a little bit. So Isaiah, strap in.
My loins have been girded.
It's not that long of a saga. So D&D Beyond, way back in the day, was not even called D&D Beyond originally. It was actually Curse. I don't know if you remember the Curse client, Isaiah. Does that ring any bells? No? Maybe?
What?
Did you not know about this history?
Do you speak truth? I don't.
Yeah.
The Curse client?
Yes. Do you remember that?
Not Chief. No, I literally don't. I love how magically edgy that is.
You never heard of it?
No.
Oh. So, Curse was like oh man.
No, the Curse client.
Hold on. It's not.
No.
It's not. So Curse was oh man, I don't even remember. It maybe started as a wiki page, like a Fextra Life kind of thing or something like that. I really don't totally remember. It was used for like MMOs and stuff, like WoW used it for mods, for example, which is why I think I had it. You would use it for World of Warcraft add-ons. You might still, actually. I'm not sure about that. Point being is I don't remember if it was people from D&D Beyond moved over. There's some relation there. I don't know. Whatever. They were a different company. Eventually, they started D&D Beyond as a way to, let you play D&D virtually, as a way to let you have all of your D&D book information virtually, blah, blah, blah. I might actually be getting the company wrong. It might not have been Curse. I don't remember, but that's okay. D&D Beyond originally, and so many people were confused by this in the early days, but D&D Beyond originally was not official Wizards of the Coast as a product in any way. They had nothing to do with Wizards of the Coast. They were called D&D Beyond and were allowed to put all the Wizards of the Coast, all the D&D books on there because of a really good licensing agreement. That's literally it. I don't even remember how they managed to negotiate that licensing agreement as the official platform, but they did somehow. Quite frankly, I'm surprised it wasn't the DM's Guild that managed to do that, but whatever. DM's Guild deals more with PDFs, I guess, is the reason for that. And Wizards of the Coast hates PDFs because reasons. Because they think it helps with piracy. Anyway. So D&D Beyond was never part of WotC, but they had this really strong licensing deal. And then D&D Beyond got so big and so successful, people just assumed Wizards owned it because it was running. A, it was run really well, and B, it was just doing really well. So for a long time, people just assumed they owned it because they were like, oh, well, obviously Wizards of the Coast is putting money into this D&D Beyond thing. They didn't for a very long time. They also did a lot of official videos with Wizards of the Coast. Like, it was a really weird thing. I don't know if you're like.
So yeah, I was around for like the official videos thing and you've been sort of on a roll. But yeah, I for a while I was like, oh, this is just like a Wizards thing.
Yeah,
and I remember having to be told
very explicitly
that no, they just work with Wizards, but then Wizards was buying them at some point, and then that's by the way, that should be like your litmus test for how late I found that out, is when they were buying with D&D Beyond, and I had to sit there going, what?
Oh, that's how you found out?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I literally sat there being like, I'm literally doing the fucking the what meme with the dude blinking like.
Yeah. White guy blinking.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh. So you didn't know any either.
No, literally no. Well, because it like you have to think about it, right? Unless you sort of kind of understand how licensing works, like really, which I kind of had to figure out more recently, is they had so much Wizards content.
Yes,
they had
so
like
much
viewable, not really PDFs, but like a viewable virtual format for looking at things. It was super well organized. They had like assets and a homebrew section and like FAQs, and they had a bunch of the Sage Advice Compendium shit. To me, it's like, this seems like entirely too much work for a third party. This seems like it has to be proprietary. And then it wasn't.
I mean, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So I had to, oh, okay. All right, so I just wanted to, I looked this up a little bit because I was, D&D Beyond launched August 15th, 2017, after an initial beta test started in March 2017. Adam Bradford was the project lead, blah, blah, blah. D&D Beyond was developed for 5th edition D&D through a partnership between Curse and Wizards of the Coast. A similar tool set, D&D Insider, had been made for 4th edition by Wizards of the Coast back in the day, but it wasn't updated or supported. I actually used, me and my friends actually used D&D Insider when we played 4th edition back in the day a little bit. December 12th, 2018, Fandom announced that they had acquired all of Curse's LLC media assets, including D&D Beyond. That was the other company I was forgetting. Fandom had them for a while.
God damn, that's okay. Wait, but like,
so yeah, I was right about Curse.
How
though.
much that must have cost?
Yeah, I don't know.
And Fandom is like a big.
So Curse was failing, was the thing.
All of their assets, you have to think. You have to pay for the company, the company's.
I don't think they had that much at that point. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know, but I think they did not have that much. Like I said, this particular part I didn't look into. But anyway, back to closer to, more important. So D&D Beyond wasn't WotC. They just had a really good deal. Basically, WotC had this D&D Insider thing for 4th edition, and they did it really bad. They tried to do D&D Beyond, and they fucking sucked at it. So they just let someone else do it, is pretty much what ended up happening. They didn't want to put... And you got to remember, in the early days of 5th edition... They were like, this is going to be the last edition of 5e, and not because of the reasons that they're saying that nowadays, but because they were like, we don't have any fucking money. This is our last hurrah. That's what they thought of 5e. They were like, this is going to be the last edition, and then D&D is going to run out of money, and that'll be it. So they didn't want to spend the money to do another D&D Insider, right? So they just let D&D Beyond do it. And D&D Beyond... I guess saw the writing on the wall. I don't know. They saw what was going on and were like, this is something we should invest in, I guess. I don't know how the fuck they were able to put that one together. But they were right. More recently, after I don't remember what spurred the whole situation on exactly, but somewhere in the dark pandemic times, when D&D Beyond, or when D&D being played online really exploded, Wizards of the Coast decided they were going to buy D&D Beyond. So they did. So now D&D Beyond is an official Wizards of the Coast product, although you probably wouldn't have even noticed because there's no difference in any of the branding or anything. It looks exactly the same as it did before.
Yeah, I mean, it really do be the D&D devs being like, we don't have to do anything. We just have to throw money at the problem and watch it go away. Like,
WotC said, fuck it. Here's some dollary dues. We're taking over. You guys just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. You just give us whatever the, the cut is. So where does this all wrap in with the tabletop, or with the virtual tabletop scenario? D&D Beyond never had a virtual tabletop of its own. People would use it to play in person, or people would use D&D Beyond and then use Roll20 at the same time, or Foundry at the same time, or Fantasy Grounds, whatever. And for a long time, people were like, why doesn't D&D Beyond have a tabletop of its own, a virtual tabletop of its own? Well, apparently they were working on it for a while. They just weren't saying anything because I guess, I don't know, maybe it wasn't going well or they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. They just didn't say anything. Then when Wizards bought D&D Beyond, everyone went, oh, maybe they're going to release the tabletop. And the rumor we heard was, no, they told D&D Beyond to kill the tabletop project, the virtual tabletop project. They said, don't do it. That's what we heard. Wizards of the Coast told them specifically, stop, don't do it. And everyone went, why would you tell them that? Well, because Wizards of the Coast wanted to make their own virtual tabletop with blackjack and hookers, otherwise known as built it in the Unreal Engine and it's fully 3D.
Tyler the Creator, so that was a fucking lie meme.
Yeah, right. Well, this is where we're getting to the good part. So D&D, oh god damn it, Wizards of the Coast, not D&D Beyond, Wizards of the Coast, although they're the same thing these days, but you know, wanted to make their own virtual tabletop, and they wanted to make it a fully 3D tabletop that runs an Unreal Engine. That is what they're currently working on right now, and if you pay attention to the D&D space online at all, they recently had a playtest that they gave to some, like, you know, D&D influencers, basically. They also had a playtest at a D&D Summit thing they did this year. So, some people have played around with the Wizards of the Coast fully 3D virtual tabletop a little bit. And yes, they are building it in Unreal. So everyone went, oh, okay. So is D&D Beyond working on that 3D thing? No. Totally separate team. You go, what? Well, because it's running an Unreal Engine, they actually got game developers and hired game devs to make this 3D virtual tabletop. So none of the D&D Beyond team is working on it because that's not their thing, which is like, all right, fine, sure, checks out. Fast forward to like 2 days ago, to break the fourth wall. We're recording this on September 20th. I believe it was 2 days ago. D&D Beyond announced they have a virtual tabletop integrated into the D&D Beyond website right now. You can alpha, if you are a master subscriber on D&D Beyond, you can alpha test it right now. And it works, and it is integrated with D&D Beyond. It's rough. Don't get me wrong. Did you look at it, Isaiah, out of random curiosity?
No, I have not. I don't have a master subscription, so I can't.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know if you looked up a video or something.
It's
pretty rough and bare bones right now.
I hadn't even thought about that.
I literally put a video in the chat. Okay, anyway. It's fine. It's rough and bare bones right now, but it's fully functioning as far as, like, you could use it to play right now. You know, there will be like probably functionality you're missing. Like, one particular weird thing is it doesn't have a grid of any kind right now. It has no snap to grid, no grid function, which is a little weird. It's a little strange.
Yeah, well, like, I'm not even trying to be like acted up for the camera. That just doesn't seem like a difficult thing to have.
Apparently it's one of those things that seems easy but it's harder than you'd think. Is what I've heard. I don't know. But I have heard, yes, it is one of those things that seems basic, but is a little harder than you would expect. So it's not in there right now, but basically, you know, all of the maps have the grid on them, right? Like the actual JPEG of the map has the grid, but you place the tokens just freely, you know, whatever. It still does the job, you know, like it'll work is the point. So now, astute listener, you might be going, wait a minute. So Wizards of the Coast has a tabletop and D&D Beyond has a tabletop, but Wizards of the Coast owns D&D Beyond and they're making their own virtual tabletop. Why do both exist? At which point I go, that's the fucking question, ain't it, mate?
Yeah, I mean,